At some point in the digital age of boss babes, new money, and ambitious rookies, we stopped consulting our village's wisest. Women have been the heartbeat of the world within their respective communities, workforces, and families since the dawn of time. They are the magic makers, the peacemakers, and the ass kickers. Let's celebrate them with the Matriarchy Party. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Matriarchy Party. I have such a treat today for you. One of my friends who, they just get cooler and cooler. I don't know what to tell you. We met in 2019. Let me tell you a little bit about Jenny Klein. She's a television writer and producer from Skokie, Illinois, Emmy-nominated for her work on Amazon Prime's 2023 limited series, Wait For It. It's my top 3 projects I watched and read this year. Daisy Jones and the Six. Jenny's currently in an overall deal with E1 Television to create and showrun Hasbro's Power Rangers as a tentpole sci-fi series for Netflix. Jenny was a creator and showrunner of the NBC limited series The Thing About Pam, starring the amazing Renee Zellweger, based on the popular Dateline podcast about Midwestern murder, Pam Hupp. Jenny's past writing credits include none other than Netflix's fantasy series, The Witcher. You probably saw it, loved it, come on. For which she co-wrote the #1 Billboard rock single, Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. Come on, you're giggling at this. I'm going. I'm going to finish this thing. Epic bio. Marvel's Jessica Jones, Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, and the Facebook Watch young adult series Sacred Lies after beginning her career as an assistant on the CW's long-running series Supernatural. She wrote 9 episodes of Supernatural, the last of which was nominated for a Hugo Award. Welcome, Jenny, to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Thanks for having me.
Are you kidding? Of course. Thank you for your time. You're booked and busy and nominated and winning all the awards. What's your most recent nom here was for a Golden Globe?
For the Golden Daisy's nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Limited Series and the Emmys.
Come on.
Which the whole team's so excited.
So excited for these small indie awards that nobody watches. Are you kidding? They're huge. This is so awesome. I love it.
I'm definitely not over it.
No, just living it. I love it. This is so exciting. Well, I feel like you're another friend who I'm just cheering on from afar, a state away, that I haven't seen you in person in so many years within that whole pandemic and strike. And so we really have to reunite IRL very soon. But I'm so excited to see your face and chat about your matriarch today.
Yay.
Yay. Well, wow, your epic bio. I just can't. It's always very fun and not uncomfortable at all for me to be yelling with enthusiasm at your face. Jenny's on Zoom. Jenny's in California. I'm in Arizona. So it is very fun to watch the reaction as I'm yelling it back at you. But so proud and excited for you and of you, just cheering you on. And you're doing so many things. So this is so exciting. Everybody's a fan of all of your work. Let's dive in here. All righty. So who are we talking about today? Who is your matriarch?
My mom.
Your mom?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Elizabeth Klein.
Elizabeth Klein. Love her. And where does she live?
Right now she lives in Bloomington, Illinois, which is a couple hours south of Chicago.
Okay.
And I grew up in Skokie, Illinois, which is a North Chicago suburb.
Amazing. And do you get to see her often?
Yeah, not as much as I'd like, of course. It's hard because I live in LA. But at least a couple times a year, my parents come out here and I try to go back there at least. And then we meet in Boston where my sister lives. So I would say it's pretty good.
Good. That's great. Well, I always start this whole thing with this question. When we think of a matriarch, we think of a woman who's the head of their family, tribe, or organization. When in your life did you feel like you had to demonstrate those traits, whether by necessity or not? Whether that was you just looked around and you're like, oh, I have to be a leader here within friendships or school teams or relationships or the workforce, anything.
Yeah, the first thing that popped in my head was show running. When I officially became a showrunner, and really understanding being a leader, a big part of it means protecting other people, and being strong in yourself. And Matriarch is a good word for that, where like the crew, a show, it's so many people, it's like a tribe, and you travel together, you move together. And I just found myself just holding a lot inside to just try to, like, you have to really compartmentalize your emotions, your priorities, and look out for other people.
That's so interesting because I had never thought about, I mean, of course, like the traditional sense of motherhood or being a matriarch and leadership are very similar in a way, in many ways, but thinking about kind of holding it all together so that everybody else is feeling like, oh, they're not nervous, so why am I nervous? So they're feeling supported, they're feeling confident because your poker face is so stoic, and that's hard. I mean, I can't imagine like your job is constantly evolving and you're involved in so many parts of bringing a project to life that's got to be stressful. And so just to be like, yeah, we got this. Maybe we don't know, but we're going to figure it out. Like, you don't need to be stressed. I have it. Like, that's a huge skill.
Yeah. So you really want to like inspire confidence. And I remember this one time, just because there's always like, something is burning and going horrible in another area. That someone like an actor will have no idea, and you don't want them to have any idea because they have to like go perform a scene.
Yeah.
And like there was something going on with post, and I came to set, and like Gideon Adlon was who played Pam Hupp's daughter on The Thing About Pam. She's so perceptive, like she's almost psychic, and I have a pretty no one else ever noticed. She like just kind of looked at me and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, yeah, everything's fine. Are you sure?
And you're looking like, how do you know? Is something on my face? Like, what is my sign here that I'm giving it away? Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
It's me protecting you.
Yeah, you're like, just focus on your job. I promise I will figure it out. Don't worry about that. I didn't realize until recently. I mean, listen, I think we interact with a lot more actors than probably like the majority of the population do. And everybody assumes that actors, they're just hot and talented and on all the time. And they just woke up like this. And the reality is they have so many people making them look and perform at their best. And so I always think, I mean, as somebody with anxiety myself, that I'm like, oh man, I could never, or it must be nice to walk through life not having that anxiety. And so meeting a lot of people that they do, and they still need to be reaffirmed. I mean, everybody needs to be affirmed in their life and to just feel confident in themselves. But it's always fascinating to me. Like, you're like, no, I don't want to distract the actor hard at work because that's going to pull them out of this and pull them into another thing. And like preparing to play pretend. And especially when you're honoring a real human being that exists out there, good or bad or ugly, like you want to do that justice. And just interesting to think about in that way.
Totally. I just never want to, not that they couldn't handle it, but I just never want to be a cause of a distraction if it's not needed. And I have so much, I can never do it. Like the pressure in every moment, like is just immense. And
right.
Yes.
it takes a talented unicorn of a human. And I mean, so many people want to do that job, and that is amazing. But like, I think that actual acting of it is only one part of how many things that you have to be thinking of, excellent at. I mean, and then you're going on a promotional tour, which is where I come in. I mean, there's just so many skills beyond the being good at acting or playing a character. But wow. Yeah. Good for you, actors. You're crushing. I know. You're great. You're great. We love them. We love them. We love them.
Yeah. Can't be them.
Pay them, pay everybody. Well, do you have any examples that come to mind of like a challenging, I mean, you could probably talk all day about that, but just things, maybe give me an example of asking for what you want in the workforce, or you've had some really amazing, successful in the eyes of like the metrics of award season I've seen, especially in the past couple of years, which is so exciting. But has there been areas in your career where like you really had to advocate for yourself? And I mean, I'm sure, but I would love to hear an example.
Yeah, I actually always tell people starting out, because I was told this, and certainly there's a grain of salt, like a grain of measurement of like, how much work have you put in? Like how have people been perceiving your work so far? But never assume that people know what you want. And then if you get passed by for an opportunity when you're mad, it's like they didn't know that. You have to be really clear that you're throwing your name in the hat. Like the first thing that came to mind was when I was like a writer's PA at Supernatural, and I was the PA for 2 years, and I really, really wanted to be the writer's assistant. And I remember going to the boss and being like, when that opening came up, like, I would really love that job, and like, please think of me, and just want to throw my name in the hat. I did the same thing for like script opportunities. And if they're mad, they're mad, but I just hope that like I dedicated myself every day, and I showed that I wasn't taking that for granted. I wasn't coming off entitled, but like, I honestly don't know if I hadn't been super clear about it. So you really do have to advocate for yourself. And I remember the day I got the writer's assistant job, it was, to this day, it's one of the happiest, like most exhilarating feelings I've ever had in my whole life. Like, that's how happy I was.
I can only imagine. That is so exciting. I mean, I always say, ask for what you want, because what's the worst that can happen? Like I think enthusiasm goes so far in any job. I think there's things that are teachable. And certainly I come up with, I'm like, oh, there are better photographers, and there are better editors. There are better strategists. Of course, like, we can't just beat ourselves up for the things that like we all know our strengths and weaknesses better than anybody else. But I think like enthusiasm and wanting to be there, like so many other things are teachable. But like when people find out, oh, you're interested in the subject matter, or you read the book adaptation, or like, you've been working your buns off. So even if it wasn't like you're kind of deserving of this project, I'm sure people want to reward that, especially when you're easy to work with, when you're fun to work with, and you're excited about a project. Like, it was probably a no-brainer for your direct reports to be like, yeah, put Jenny in.
Hope so.
You're like, more of that, please. Just
to be clear, I would like that.
If there was any question, remember, I would like it. More of that, please. I love that. Well, I'm sure success has evolved in so many ways. How old were you when you moved to LA from Illinois?
I was 18 because I went to USC film school for the undergrad, like BFA screenwriting program. So which was also one of the happiest moments when I was with my mom, like crying when we got the news, and she knew how bad I wanted it. And that was like how I got out to California. Like, I don't know what my turn my life would have taken, because I think a lot of the uphill battle, the hardest thing is getting your butt out here.
Yeah. Well, and pushing through when things are not going your way, especially on the first couple of days, like getting your sea legs of just learning how to be an adult. I moved to LA when I was 18 to go to school. And like, when I think about the sacrifices that my mom made to make that possible, when I didn't even realize, like, and learning how to be a human adult in Los Angeles, like a few weeks after high school, it was the most intense. It was so intense. So persevering, and like then seeing the other side, you made it to the school that you really wanted to be in. You're in the city and you're making it work. And it's just like, okay, I'm doing it, whether or not I believe it.
I only have sweatshirts. I don't fit in it. It was
Oh my God. No, I remember a very similar experience. That's so funny. But with, those are between school and getting the job, huge accomplishments. Like, what does success now, what does it mean to you? Like, the older you get, I'm sure that's evolved.
Yeah. I feel like success is a feeling, and it's achieving contentment where you feel whole, where you don't, I mean, certainly you can experience loss in your life in a way that you might never feel whole. That's not what I mean, but just like where you're not feeling super wistful about something, and you've achieved a level of contentment with your life, whatever that may look like.
I love that. I mean, and it seems, of course, from afar, we're all just taking in the highlight reel via social media. But I, was like,
I love that.
but I'm like, you are a mother to many pets, not human children. Right? How many animals do you have?
Now I have 4, a rabbit, a snake, a dog, and a leopard gecko.
I love that. And you recently
I have a stepdaughter.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. To have a step human child, that is, and because you recently got married, how many years has it been now?
We've been married a little over a year, but we've been together 10 years. Actually, no, 11. And so Ezra is 22. So I've like been helping raise her and in her life since she was like 12.
Wow. That must have been I can't imagine the learning becoming a stepmom. Like that's such a challenging relationship dynamics of many, I mean, with the bio mom, I imagine. And
I mean, you want to be respectful and not overstep. I'm really lucky because Ezra's like the sweetest person in the world. And it's like, we've literally never fought. She's so lovely and she's an incredible artist and so I'm really lucky.
So you have so much in common.
Yeah. Yeah. She's really
like, oh, coolest stepmom ever. Like, just being, because you're so creative, both you and your husband. I feel like I'm always like in awe of like the gifts you guys are handcrafting for each other. I'm like, you drew that, you painted that, you carved that. It's amazing. So I love that. Making time for fun. That's my next question. When's the last time you did something just for fun?
Yesterday I do ceramics. I do pottery. So that's like just for me. And it's not, something I'm not like, but yeah, people are always like, you can do it Etsy. And I'm just like, then I'll hate it. Yeah. And I won't.
I feel the same way. What, is it mostly like vessels of sorts you're making or?
Yeah, I make like, my hands aren't really strong. I have an issue with my hands, so I can't make anything really big, but, yeah, I make mugs for people. I like making mugs and smaller plates. And I made my little sister a Seder plate for her wedding gift that I'm going to like.
I was like, spoiler alert. Sister, don't listen.
She knows.
Oh, okay.
I talked it up.
Oh, good. That's so special. I did a pottery class that was like make your pet into a vessel. And I made this vase of my oldest pup. And oh my gosh, I was like, it was so stressful. I'm like, I got 3 hours to make. I need to learn the skill. I was like, I cannot ever think about monetizing. I'm like, just do things for fun. Just like, even if you're bad at it. But then I'm very competitive. So with myself. So I'm like, this has to be the best pottery of a dog the world's ever seen. But it turned out it was cute. It was fun. But I love that. Yeah. Doing things with your hands and getting away from a screen is good for me. So I'm always trying to do more things that are just like tangible. How do you prepare for something scary or intimidating? A big interview.
I put on shoes.
Good idea.
It's a Zoom pitch. I always put on shoes. I just like take a deep breath right before and look over. I guess the first thing that comes to mind for me is always like a pitch. Like I guess it's like work related. It's not like scary, but it's like
intimidating.
You care about. So if you're not nervous, you might not care that much. So yeah, I just like look over my thoughts and think of the first thing I'm going to say. And then I know everything else will come. So I just try to like give myself a moment of stillness.
That's such good advice. I feel like usually I'm preparing for a lot of times I'm just running in like a bat out of hell. Like and I'm like, okay, you got to sit and give yourself some stillness and just preparation and calm before you turn it on. But that's great. The shoes thing is really, I feel like I've read that on multiple ADHD accounts too, of like, that's like signals to your brain. You're like going to do the thing. Like for some reason it turns something on. I wish I had the technical term, but I have read that in multiple places that putting on shoes before you have to do a thing, or even if it's like, I need to do this task at my house. But especially if you're not even leaving, it's signals something in your brain. Fascinating.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Do you think it's possible to do it all in your life?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just a matter of time, isn't it?
Yeah,
Uh, Possible, and a time and happiness. But yeah, it's possible.
I love that. I think sometimes not all at the same time, and like patience, like you say, it's just a matter of time. But I feel like not everything has to be at a 10 out of 10, like in every
Hmm.
direction. Sometimes there's some sacrifices, sometimes there's,
Yeah. Yeah, I read something like that recently that was like the emphasis with women working moms was always like about balance and finding balance, and it was implied like within the day, but actually the more they've studied it, that it's like about imbalance and allowing those imbalances to happen over time, where it's like, oh, I like in the pie chart of what I spent my time on, it was more this during this like 3 week period, and then it like flips back, the converse over the next period of time, and that's okay.
that's so true. Cause I think when you think about, I mean, reading those quotes that came out, like you have as many hours in a day as Beyonce. And so everybody's like, you're like, yes, but I don't have a full staff right now of people helping me at the moment. So I feel like that was so much pressure of having to be everything to everyone every single day and being able to, even over a course of a week or a month or the year at a glance, and you're like, oh, it is more balanced. I think work-life balance is kind of like, is that real? I don't know. I think everything is kind of teeter-tottering on the
Yes.
pie chart, like you said, but it's like as a whole, ideally it balances out in different seasons of the year.
Yes,
Well, let's
exactly.
talk about your mom. Did you always grow up very close? Like, have you been close with her your whole life, or do you feel like? I mean, I feel like mothers and daughters sometimes it's complicated. So
For sure. Yeah, I'm really lucky that I had my mom with me at home. She was a stay-at-home mom. She was a nurse when I'm one of four kids, and she was a nurse when my older sister was born. But she wanted to be at home and raise us. And when I talked to her about this, she was like you have to get childcare, and that's so expensive. And so it's like you're working, and then you're just all that money doing childcare. I'd rather just be home with you guys. And
yeah,
um, he was really happy with that, and that feels good too. And yeah, so I think in a good way. I was never like, my mom's my best friend and we like tell each other everything. We weren't like that.
yeah.
It was more like the traditional mom, almost like a Judy Bloom kid. I felt like that with like my mom, or like I love her and I can depend on her, but it's not like we're like whispering secrets in bed or something.
Yeah, the full. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's so funny.
It was healthy.
It was a healthy amount of closeness, but yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure that means something differently to many different people.
Right.
I love that. So she was a nurse while you were a kid, your whole childhood,
Oh, so
or the majority?
she was a nurse. Well, my dad was in optometry school, and then when she had my older sister, who's 6 years older than me, she stopped being a nurse in orthopedics, and so when I was born, she was a full-time mom.
Oh, okay, got it. Yes, because it's the whole child care of it all. Of you're like, am I making enough to make it worth my time to pay someone else when I really want to do that job anyway? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
exactly.
great debate. Did you find seeing her in her career and then totally prioritizing motherhood and working in the home, did that impact you following your path for your career? I'm sure it did in some degree, but how did that impact chasing your dreams and going after your career?
Yeah, I felt like I realize now, like, oh my God, I totally took her for granted that she was there to take me to all of us, all four of us, over a long span. Like my older sister and my little sister are 12 years apart. So yeah, I feel like she did such an amazing job encouraging us to try things that we hate was important, and then encourage the things that we liked or showed promise in. For me, it was writing. And so I feel like I wouldn't be here like doing what I'm doing if it weren't for her and like the way that she encouraged me to be, that I could be a writer.
That's amazing. I mean, none of us would be anything without moms, really. Literally. It's, what did she, do you know what she wanted to be when she grew up before?
Yeah, she loves animals, and that's another thing she instilled in us. Like she always took us to museums and like the aquarium, and she wanted to be a veterinarian.
Oh,
And yeah, and my little sister's actually a vet tech, and
that's cool.
yeah, yeah. So we all love it. I love animals, and
Yeah.
it's about not just like loving them, but respecting them. And she was really big about like respecting your environment, respecting animals. Like she pioneered. So she was, her main thing was like she was a public servant. Like she served on the school board of we all went to public school in Skokie, of the public school district for 16 years.
What?
She was the president of the school board for, yeah, like it
That's so
was
much work.
so much work, like meetings. It was volunteering during the day, meetings at night. And when I talked to her about it, she was like, it wasn't just because like my kids were in there, it was for the whole community and to serve other people's kids. So
Wow.
I know she's just awesome and really like gives of herself, and she's so smart and reading all the time. And so the yeah, she like pioneered Earth, like being the Earth mom, and not in like a granola crunchy like Topanga way, and like in like a Skokie way, where I was the first kid to have like reusable containers in my lunch every day. And it was like that 90s thing of like
Yeah.
reduce
Yeah.
recycle. She was like, we need to get this in the school.
Captain Planet now. Let's.
Yeah, she was Captain Planet. So sorry, I'm rambling.
That's
I forget
no. Well, yeah, I was wondering if her working in the home impacted your career and made you, maybe you were thinking like, oh, I definitely want to be a mom inside the home, or if I definitely want to go after my career ambitions. But also, it feels like, or
Oh yeah, she wanted to be a veterinarian.
She wanted to be a vet. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But that's so cool because A, your sister is involved in that, and B, I feel like the empathy and respect for animals has translated to all the children then. And
Yeah, it did. And when I asked her about it, she was, like, oh, did you want to go back and do that? And she was like, no, I mean, like she realized pretty quickly when she was in college that she didn't have like, because you have to have really high grades. And she was like, they just weren't good enough to get into veterinarian school. So I had to pivot. And so I went to nursing school, and I was like, oh, was that like, do you feel bad about it? And she was like, no, I didn't, I didn't dwell on it. I pivoted. And I was like, okay.
Great advice.
Cool.
Great,
yeah, exactly.
Great positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure at the time you didn't even realize. I know, like my dad volunteered at the school a lot, and that's a lot of work on top of your full-time job and being a full-time parent. And you're like, at the time, another thing that you don't realize until you're a little bit older, that you're like, wow, that's a commitment for 16 years. You said
yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, she's president for 12 years. It's had to be like elected, and plus the PTA, like both of them. It was a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think the defining moments of her life have been so far / career before you were born?
Well, she was the second of 6 kids, the second oldest. So it sounded like she did a lot of, kind of like raising her siblings, and she's really close with her sisters. I'm also one of 3 sisters, and we're very close. So I feel like the sisterhood is something that I already know is like really wonderful that they have later in life, and that I feel so grateful to have for my whole life, my sisters. And she graduated early at 16, and she said, yeah. She was like, I didn't really think that it was strange. But her mom was like, okay, you've got enough credits now. You can like go to college. And so she went to University of Illinois, but she just thought that's the thing like, oh, maybe I could stay in high school. And then she met my dad the first week of freshman year of college
Oh
at
my
U of
gosh.
A, and they're still together.
That's a huge accomplishment. Wow.
Right?
I mean, and not having been married for that long, still, wow. Especially just how the world's evolved and how, I mean, the kids growing up and moving out of the house. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
they did 10 years before they got married.
They did it 10 years. Sorry, cut out a little.
Sorry. Yeah, they did it 10 years before they got married.
Wow. I mean, me too. That's so funny. But wow. So married for 30, how many years?
Many years.
I was like, you do the math. Many years. Yeah. I was like, she was 16-ish when they met then. If she went straight to college, then wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Shout out to your mom and dad. I mean, we need to get them on the podcast. Like, what are your secrets then? What do you admire most about your mom?
Her commitment to whatever she is engaging in. She's like really true blue. Like when she was like, I'm going to serve the community, she freaking served the community for so many years. Like, I'm going to have 4 kids and I'm going to be there for them. She's so thoughtful. She's just a really committed person. And I really admire that about her. Like, she's invested.
Yeah. Well, that obviously translates to you, because I feel from what I know about you, you're like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to use my whole ass, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Otherwise I just don't do it.
Yeah. You're like, if I can't commit that level of focus and dedication, I'm not going to do it. So that's amazing. That's like really big skill.
Yeah.
Do you remember your mom having any sort of routine or things that she did consistently? Like, I mean, right now it's like wellness and morning routines, but I feel like a lot of our moms, grandmas, that wasn't such a focus. But do you remember that?
I know. Yeah. It wasn't as much of it, but to her credit, I remember, not every day, but she would take a bath, and that now I understand, like, oh, that was her time alone away from us.
Shut the door.
Like, it likes to be clean, but that's not what it was.
It wasn't about like the soap and the bubbles. It was like meditation, quiet time.
She gets to relax.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
As a water sign, I appreciate that. I get it. What do you think is one word to describe her?
Committed. Yeah.
Like it. What is the best advice you ever received from her, or something that stuck with you that maybe she said all the time or told you specifically?
Ooh. I feel like she's like, sorry, the first thing that came to mind was like, you'll figure it out. You always do. And then I'll be like, yeah.
I love that.
I always do. Okay. Great. I'll figure it out.
Do you think your mom is like particularly like a gushy, fluffy, like she's obviously very nurturing, but like I feel like that sounds like a mom that's just like, you'll figure it out. Let's move forward. And just the way that she like kind of cut out going to vet school and like going to be a nurse. Things changed. Now I'm pivoting. Like,
yeah, no, that's true. You're right. It's like, she's tough. Like, she grew up for some years on a farm. Like, she's loving and thoughtful, would make my lunch every morning and put like notes in my lunch. Now I'm like, oh my God, I'm so privileged and spoiled with love. But she's not like gushy, fluffy.
No, my mom's like that too. Like, so loving, would do anything for her kids, like so committed, so thoughtful, but then like she's tough. And that's why all of her kids are tough and resilient, because she's just like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And we never were any of the wiser if things weren't ideal scenarios. She just really like did the dance so well, I think. But
sorry.
No.
Yeah. It's like she wouldn't do it for me. Like I would have to like most things where it's like, I had to do my projects. I had to like, I don't remember her ever being like, you need to do your homework or like one of those moms that kind of like does things for you. Like as soon as it's hard for you, she really believed in like, you have to work through, like having me go to science camp and like they soccer things that you're not good at. Like you have to work through the challenge. Like, yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Well, and we talked a little bit about just appreciating our moms. Everybody does once they're older, to see the sacrifices that they made that are like, so you realize how privileged you are the older that you get. But I don't know if you want to share your poem that you wrote that you found. You want to share it?
Oh,
I was like,
sure.
I have it here too. I'm like, you can read it or I can read it. But I'm like, it's so sweet. But Jenny wrote her mom a birthday poem, The True Artist.
Oh my God. It's not like it's that great. It's not great.
Oh, it's so sweet though.
But it's like, it was because I feel like I was just like kind of a bitch, when I was a teenager.
We all were, for sure.
And you don't like see everything in the full scope of what your mom's doing. Or like, all freaking 4 of us had braces. Do you know how many orthodontist appointments that was? And like,
not alone. And you probably all had extra, and you all had to eat multiple times a day, and you all have different extracurriculars. And it sounds like
all
a 12-year age gap between
yes,
moms.
Yes. So a couple years ago, I just wrote a poem for her. Okay, I'll read it now. A poem for Mom. I liked knowing my mom was there. When I got home from school, snacks, Jeopardy, and car rides to basketball, jumping higher, Hebrew school, I persevered. Art camps, learning what I'm good at. I could be proud. I should make more. I liked knowing my mom was there to surround me with books, to care about animals and the earth, to be giving and thoughtful, to love no matter what. I like knowing my mom is there. Happy birthday, Mom, from my grown-up, grateful heart.
I have tears in my eyes. It's so sweet.
Me too.
I love it. Oh, that's so nice. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I was like, we have to share it. It's so sweet. That is so special. Well, just a few rapid fire questions as we were wrapping here. Is there a song, phrase, beauty tip, piece of jewelry that always makes you think of her?
Rings, because she has really beautiful hands. And not that this wasn't a side compliment to compliment myself, but we have the same ring size. So we like swap rings.
Oh, that's so sweet. Any specific like silver, gold, all metals or jewels or gems?
A lot of gold, and she like let me try them on growing up. And and she would, that's like the one, like she's not like frivolous or frilly, like she's like tough and like she's feminine, but she's not like a vain person. But she would always, like the one thing she would do is get her nails done. And so that reminds me of my mom too.
I love that. Are you a person who always gets her nails done now because of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am. I don't feel together.
No, I'm the same way. I'm like, my mom always had a beautiful mani on. And now I feel like it's the direct reflection of how my week is going is what my nails look like. So I'm like, if nothing else. And I feel like when you're clacking away on your computer, I'm looking at them. I need them,
I know. It's like the one thing I can control, or I'm like, okay, like I feel better because at least like my nails look together.
100%. I'm like, okay, interview, like big event, nails got to be done for sure. Or just even makes me motivated to use my hands at work. It's just funny. How do you recharge?
I try to get good. I have a sleep ritual. I try to get good sleep.
What's a sleep ritual?
Oh, you got to like not look at the screen. If you can help it after like 9:30, lower all the lights. Don't look into white light. Have like red light in your bedroom. Lots of stuff like that to just really protect my sleep. But I indulge in massages, like maybe once a month, like when things are rough, I'll be like,
good for you.
That will really make me feel better. And then you don't realize how actually productive you'll be after that because you gave yourself that.
That is great advice. Even if massages aren't in the budget right now, like whatever you can do to give yourself some pampering, that's doing your own nails or like taking a bath or like
face mask.
Take care of yourself so that then, you're more armed to go into the world feeling loved and cared for. But do you feel like, how does your mom recharge? Is she as good about it? Like, she's still taking her baths?
Yeah, she still takes her bath, so I like getting her bath stuff for presents.
Oh, that's a good idea. Because like now there's so many lavish like salts and bath balls and foams and all the oil, even more than ever. I love it.
Yeah. She like even tried CBD.
Oh, see? I feel like once you get your parents on the CBD, like there's no going back. Everyone, I'm such a CBD believer. My 19-year-old dog loves CBD. Me and my husband both have back neck things. We love CBD. Get yourself some CBD.
For my hand because of my carpal, it's really good.
It's amazing. I'm like, we're all just like, when, I don't know. Do you remember Lotions and Potions in the 90s, that store? That's like had the bath bomb. I was like, where's that now? I feel like we're all like the modern day elder millennial witches of that used to shop at Lotions and Potions. But anyways, that's silly. What's your favorite age you've been so far and why?
I want to say the current age.
Love it.
I'm really happy. Yeah.
I love that. Oh, I'm happy you're happy. I feel the same way. Getting better and better. And the more you're investing in yourself, what did you say?
All you can ask for.
Right. I mean, we should be so lucky. What a gift. Okay. Final question is always, if you could say anything to your matriarch, what would it be? And can we call her on the phone?
Yes, we can call her.
Her website.
Hello.
Hey, Mom.
Hello.
Hey, I'm here with Courtney.
Hi.
Hello, Courtney.
Thank you for being willing to be on the podcast very briefly.
I just wanted to.
It was my pleasure. My honor.
Oh.
A chance to touch base with you, Jenny, in preparation.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I was like, oh, I want to like ask you some questions too. So that was a nice opportunity.
We had such a really nice chat. And the last question of the podcast is, if you could say anything to your matriarch, that's you, what would it be? So I thought she should tell you straight to you.
So I would say, Mom, thank you for making me believe without any doubts. Like, it never occurred to me that I couldn't be a writer. Like, those things come later in the forms of like misogyny and like things like that. But I never once had any doubts whatsoever that I couldn't like do that with my life. And I feel like that's in such large part to your encouragement. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I think you were born to write in some fashion, and you've been successful.
Thanks,
and we're
Mom.
proud of you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
No.
I think it's like the unwavering support and encouragement when you're young, and to have the gift. I had a mom that was the same thing. There was never a thought in my mind that thought. Me and my sisters all the time were like, wow, the confidence that I could just do literally whatever I wanted to do because of my mom. Like, that's amazing. Thank you so much for raising all of your amazing daughters. I've only met one, but we love Jenny. She's so talented, and she gets to share her talents and art with the world. And
yes,
thank you.
And it's fun to watch and to see her grow.
And cheer her on from Illinois.
Thanks, Mom.
Yes, we cheer on Illinois every which way we can.
I'm very lucky. And she's just saying that because she likes getting the DVD screeners. Just kidding. I don't share those. Illegal.
I would never. No. Oh, thank you so much. Have an amazing rest of your holiday season here.
Thank you. Thank you. And you too.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Okay.
Love you.
Love
Bye.
you too. Bye.
Oh, that was so great.
So sweet. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky.
You are so lucky. I'm so lucky. Wow. Shout out to moms. That's so special. Thank you so much for your time today. Such a gift. I know how busy you are. making pitches and just like making Emmy and Golden Globe nominated projects. Okay. And you're amazing. I'm so grateful to know you. I hope to see you in person soon. Well, everyone, where can they find you if they want to see more of you? You're a woman of mystery on Instagram. Your account is private. So maybe like, do you have any other social media? Private. Do you have a LinkedIn?
Yeah. I'm not on, I guess it's X on Twitter. I mean, I am on it. I check in on there. I'm not on it as much. Anyway, my handle, I made my handle when I was like 21 is Jenny Dull Herpes. You can't change it once you get a lot of followers and then you can't change it. Anyway, it is what it is. It's JENNYDEL herpes, HERPES. I'm not proud.
Excellent. I love that. Or just a quick Google and they can probably find whatever you're up to and what project that Deadline's written about lately.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Courtney,
you so much. You're the best.
Thank you.